Huang Hao and Fan Jian. Huang was a politician and eunuch who served whilst gaining the favour of the second and last emperor of Shu, Liu Shan. As the emperor's wives lived in the palace, it was forbidden for men with reproductive organs to work there, thus leading to the employment of eunuchs. In ancient China, castration was initially done as a punishment, but eventually some men were willingly castrated just so they could work within the palace. These men were clearly opportunists, which led to some half-hearted attempts to make the voluntary practice illegal. Huang Hao was able to promote his supporters whilst demoting his opponents, which contributed greatly to the overall detriment of his state. Most court officials flattered him, only Chen Shou did not bend his will to the fall of the eunuch, and thus Chen was marginalized and demoted a few times. Huang Hao's most notorious interference is probably when he convinced Liu Shan that an invasion from Wei would not happen, despite Xiang Wei's attempts to warn their lord. As a result, Shu was not prepared for the incoming Wei invasion, which forced their state to crumble. He entered into the Shu court in the 220s as a eunuch, where he became favoured by Liu Shan because he was shrewd and full of flattering words. Whenever he attempted to interfere with state affairs, Dong Yun would step in to warn Liu Shan about the dangers of flattery, whilst admonishing Huang Hao. So long as Dong Yun was alive, he kept Huang Hao in check, never allowing him to be promoted beyond his position as an assistant of the Yellow Gate. Following his death, Dong Yun was succeeded by Chen, who collaborated with Huang Hao to dominate the imperial court. It's believed that with the encouragement from the treacherous pair, Liu Shan criticised the late Dong Yun for treating him with disrespect. Fan Jian was from Yiyang Commandery. The limited information about him never records him meeting with Zhuge Liang or participating in the northern campaigns. In 251, when he was a colonel, he was sent to Wu as an emissary, but Sun Quan was ill at the time, so they were unable to meet. When Chuan and Zhuge Ke spoke about Fan Jian, he was described as not as talented or knowledgeable as Zhong Ye, but his noble nature is far greater. Such was Fan Jian's nature. He went on to serve as a palace attendant and secretariat director. After Chen Zi's passing in 258, Huang Hao became the most influential figure in the Shu government, so was promoted to the central regular attendant and commandant of the equipage. Around this time, astrologists had reported seeing the Jing star, so Liu Shan changed the era name from Yangzi to Jiang Yao, meaning Jing Shining. Huang Hao soon began promoting officials who favoured him, whilst abusing his power against those who stood up to him. Fan Jian, Dong Zhuge and Zhuge Jian spoke against Huang Hao, but Liu Shan ignored them. The trio also tried to curb Xiang Wei's numerous campaigns but failed, during which Fan Jian rejected many offers from Huang Hao. When Luo Xian refused to work with him, he was sent away to serve as the administrator of Badong Commandery. Huang then assigned his close friend Yan Yu to watch over Luo Xian as his deputy. Huang Hao and Shi Zheng had long disliked each other, as Shi was aware of the eunuch's ways for about 30 years. Although no harm came to Shi, he was never given the opportunity to get promoted. When Huang rose to power, he slandered and spoke ill of Liu Shan's brother in front of him. Liu Yong was cast in a negative light during the discussion, which resulted in Liu Shan distancing himself from his brother before outright banning him from ever attending court for over 10 years. Fan Jian, the masters of writing at the time, simply refused to have any dealings with Huang Hao. Xiang Wei wrote to Liu Shan in 262, urging him to execute Huang Hao, but his lord refused. He defended him by saying Huang was merely a servant running errands for him, and told Xiang Wei not to be so upset about it. Xiang Wei became worried that he had fallen out of favour with his emperor after this, but he soon received an apology from Huang Hao under Liu Shan's order. Xiang Wei looked for an excuse to leave Chengdu, and so relocated to the military garrison at Taichung. In the meantime, Huang Hao tried to release Xiang Wei from his command and replace him with Yan Yu. When Xiang Wei received the order, he simply ignored it, because he knew he was safe so long as he remained in Taichung. Within a year, Xiang Wei had learned that Zhonghui was mobilizing troops from Liang province, which seemed to indicate preparations for an all-out invasion of Shu. He wrote to the capital asking for permission to set up the required defences, but Huang Hao got involved. As a believer in sorcery, he had a witch doctor predict the future, who foresaw that actually Wei would not invade Shu. Later that year, Deng Ai appeared outside Chengdu with his troops. He had led them through a shortcut to bypass Shu's unorganised defences before arriving outside the capital. Liu Shan surrendered without putting up a fight, thus bringing an end to the existence of the Shu regime. Huang Hao was arrested by Deng Ai, who soon heard of his treachery and so wanted to bring him to justice. When Deng Ai went to collect him, however, his men had accepted bribes to release him and he had already escaped. His eventual fate is unknown, and I assume that the guards didn't wait around once they'd received their payments. After Shu fell in spring of 263, Fan Jian was sent to Luoyang to serve in Sima Zhao's army. As a familiar figure, he was sent back to Shu in autumn to help bring the new territories into the realm as a regular mounted attendant. At some point whilst at the capital, Sima Yan asked Fan Jian about Zhuge Liang's governance over Shu. When he hears evil, he would always correct it, whilst he did not boast excessively. The faith in rewards and punishments from him are enough to impress the gods. Sima Yan rejoiced that if he had got such a person to assist him now, there could not be any more difficulties. Fan bowed his head. I've humbly heard the world's discussions, and all of them have said that Deng Ai was treated wrongly. Your Majesty knows this, but does not fix it. Is this perhaps the meaning of acquiring great talents but being unable to use them? Sima Yan laughed as he said, I was about to inquire as to understand such discussions, yet your words have surpassed even my thoughts. After this conversation, Deng Ai was posthumously rehabilitated by Sima Yan. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.